How's it going, fellas? Alright, so I just want to go over the breakout strategy with you guys. It's essentially called the Mamba Effect breakout strategy. Mamba is the one who I learned the strategy from. But yeah, the reason why I just want to go over it is because I went over this multiple times before, but I did take a little break off social media. I do have a lot of new people following me ever since I recently started posting back, and I just have a bunch of DMs from people texting me and asking me, hey, how do you do this? What is this strategy? How does this work? Can you please teach me? So first off, before I do teach you guys, okay, I do have a link in the description below. It takes you straight to my my link tree, which has my free Discord and a free trading course. Okay, so this trading course is going to teach you from A to Z exactly what you need to know. Okay, so now let's go over the strategy. So basically, it's simple. All I'm looking for is support and resistance, and I want to see a breakout at 9:30 a.m. New York session market open. Now, depending on where you stay, it might be 6:30. It might be, I don't know. For me, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm in Massachusetts. So it's gonna be 9:30 a.m. Okay. So basically, me personally, I come into the markets every morning at 9:15 a.m. So I'm just gonna mark up the 9:15 candle right here. So I entered the market on July 28th. Okay, this is just a random date. July 28th at 9:15. This is when I came in. When I came in, this is the candle that I'm seeing. Okay, the one that has the white line. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for is resistance. Now, resistance is going to be a roof, an area where price is trying. Well, let's say price is in an uptrend, right? This is a perfect example. Price is in an uptrend, right? Right. We have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, low. Now, as you can see, price is rejecting from breaking that high. Okay, so now we have some sort of roof right here. I like to call it a roof to put it in the easiest way. Okay, we have some sort of roof. Obviously, let's say, you know what I'm saying? Let's say you're jumping, right? Obviously, if you're jumping, right, and there's a roof above you, you can't jump through the fucking roof unless you're like Hulk or fucking Superman, right? So that's basically what resistance is. Resistance is the roof. Obviously, price is going up. Now at this area, for some reason, price cannot go up anymore. It starts going to the side because there's some like invisible like line right here, or whatever, some invisible barrier that's blocking it from going higher, right? So that would be considered resistance. Price is resisting from going higher. So now what I want to do is I just mark up my little resistance zone. And now something else that you're looking for is going to be the floor, right? Same analogy. Let's say you're jumping, right? You're jumping as hard as possible, putting as much pressure on the ground, and you cannot go through the floor, right? Obviously, because there's a barrier that's blocking you from jumping through the fucking ground, right? So this is considered the ground, right? This is considered the surface, or whatever you want to call it, right? For me, simplest terms, it's the ground, right? The floor, whatever. So now you just mark up your resistance, right? Now, whenever you're looking for these levels, as you can see, there are going to be spots where price is just like changing directions, right? We're going up, now we're going back down. We're going up, now we're going back down, right? Every single touch, as long as it's two touches, like price went up. And let me just mark this out for you guys real quick. Where's the circle? I'm gonna edit this shit out anyway. Okay, here we go. Right, so boom. Let's say price went up. This is considered a touch, right? Price is rejecting from going higher right here. Same thing happens right here, right? That's another touch, right? Two touches, we already know, okay, that's perfect. We have a resistance level. We have some type of resistance or something. Like price cannot go past that here. Once it's rejected twice from going higher, we know, okay, we have some sort of zone right there. Same thing right here for the support, right? It's the same exact thing. Sometimes there might be more touches. Sometimes, there might be less. Whatever. Just two touch minimum. As long as you see two touches, then you know, okay, we got a solid zone right here. Right? You want it to be strong before you rely on it for entry. Okay? So boom. We got our support, we got our resistance, right? We're in the market at 9:15. Now, all we want to see, the strategy is so simple, guys. All we want to see is a breakout. right? We just want to see price either break out to the upside here or break out to the downside, right? At 9:30 a.m. It has to be at 9:30 a.m. Now, the reason why it's at 9:30 is because at 9:30 a.m. is when New York session opens. Whenever the session opens, it has a tremendous amount of volume. The reason for that is because I actually do not know. I just think people are waiting to trade, right? As soon as it opens up, the market's open, it just starts flying, right? All I know, at 9:30 a.m., it's volatile, it's moving fast, it's about to go crazy, okay? So you want to ride that momentum, right? So with this strategy, the main thing people really mess up with is they get faked out a lot, right? Now, the reason for you getting faked out is because you're entering, like, you're not being patient. You're entering on a snap. As soon as you see a break, you enter. That's why it just reverses sometimes and stop you up. What you want to do is you want to wait to ride the volume. You want to make sure that it has volume. What I mean by that is, for example, we have support, we got resistance, right? Now, let's say we want to see a breakout to the downside. When market opens, if price is just, doing something like this, it's taking forever to break out, and then it did something like this, and then you don't want to enter on this, right? The reason why you don't want to enter on this is because, right, there's no volume, right? Now, if you enter on that and there's no volume, then it's just going to fake you out every single time, right? So what you want to do is, we have support, we have resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. We're looking for that breakout to the downside. As soon as the market opens at 9:30, you want to see some sort of like movement, like crazy fast movement, when it just starts dropping. That's when you enter the trade, okay? And then you capitalize off of that momentum down to the next level, right? So, for example, this is exactly what happened right here, right? As you can see, 9:15 we came in the market, we marked up our levels, we got support, we got resistance, right? 9:30 candle. As you can see, if you look at the bottom of the screen, right? 9:30. As soon as this candle opened, price had so much volume. It started pushing out, pushing out. As soon as I seen it push out with some volume, I just hopped in on that, right? I just had my stop loss slightly above the candle, right? It all just depends on where my entry is, right? If I have an entry like this, I kind of just measure it out just to put it somewhere safe, so I know if price retraces, we have enough space. Now, let's say my entry was worse, something like here, then I would just kind of bring my stop loss slightly above the level, right? It all just depends on your entry, right? You can't just enter all the way down here and have your stop loss up here, because your risk to reward is going to be off. Most of the time, we don't make big moves like this, right? It's normally a 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, but the only way you can get a 1 to 4 is if you manage that stop loss properly, okay? So for example, right, on this trade, let's say I enter right here, right, or we waited for the good push. Let's say I entered something like this, waited for a push out, boom. Now all I'm doing is I'm targeting recent liquidity. Recent liquidity is basically the same thing as support and resistance, right? Price came up, we resisted from going higher, we came back down, we had the floor, we couldn't go any lower. Same thing, came back high, couldn't go any higher, came back down, couldn't go any lower. So we just kept on in that pattern. These levels are called liquidity, right? Wherever there's lows and highs in the market, that's called liquidity, right? Now, liquidity is basically where people stop loss or where people enter trades at, right? Price is going to take those positions out. That's why price is going towards these levels. In simpler terms, these levels right here are basically magnets to price, right? So if you just aim for these levels, price is going to automatically come there because it's like a magnet. That's how I like to explain it, okay? So me personally, I would enter my trade, put my stop loss here, and then I'm aiming for this level, right? Boom. Easy 1 to 2, right? And now I just doubled how much I'm risking. So if I'm risking, for example, let's say I'm risking $100, I just made $200 on this trade, right? Now, even if I did lose this trade, I would just lose $100, and then my next trade, as long as I aim for risk/reward ratio 2, is going to be at like 2 times how much I'm risking. So if I lose $100, I'm still going to make $200 on top of it, and I'm going to be $100 in profit, right? So that's basically the gist to the strategy, right? It's nothing crazy. It's pretty simple, right? You just look for support, you look for resistance, you wait for some volume, and have to catch that breakout at 9:30 a.m. and then you're cashing. Now, obviously, it's going to take time before you learn it, right? It seems very simple, but it's a lot of psychology. It's less technical and more mental, okay? If you guys are interested in learning this and wanting my help one-on-one, I will be launching my Discord by the end of this week, right? I did have an old Discord server and I recently deleted it. I just wanted to start fresh. So now I'm rebuilding, and then I will be dropping that probably on Sunday or Monday. You guys can definitely join. It's gonna be free, no cost, and you guys can watch me live trade and literally trade with me and interact with me, right? So if you guys are interested, make sure you click the description below. It's gonna have the link to my link tree. And that's pretty much it. Come on.